Kelvin, to hold them to 5 points in the first 15 minutes, what did you see from the way you guys came out and, limited what they wanted?
Well, it always starts with our game plan, what we're trying to take away, and then just our responsibilities. It's January. We weren't very good at any of that in November. Not much better probably in early December. But our practices have been so much better. But we played. What's our record? How many games we played? So we play 17 games. You get better every game, right? Season, you have a bad game. So aren't we allowed to have a bad game? Everybody else has them. You get better as you go. But I will say that Coach Hodge and his bunch from West Virginia, that's tough. I've been there. Huge win on Saturday, very emotional. I don't know if their students rushed the court or anything, but that's a big win for anybody beating Kansas, just because it's Kansas. And then have to turn around and Sunday, Monday, get on the plane, come here and play us on a Tuesday night. That's tough. So I'm sure that was a factor. They got up on top of the mountain Saturday. Then they had to try to get back on top of it again. These kids are human beings. So I would say that had something to do with the game at some point.
Laurent Perron, Coug Radio. Coach, you were able to get JoJo involved early. He had the and one on the opening play, and then a few possessions later, he hit Chris for that cut to the dunk. As JoJo develops his touch more and becomes more of an offensive threat, what does this open up for your offense?
Not much. It's not like we're going to throw it to him 20 times a game. JoJo's, I have no idea how many points he averages, but I don't have any plans to run our offense through him. I actually like it better when they double him because he's such a good passer. But, we had a guy, we've had some guys in the past, so we had a guy named Josh Carlton. You were probably in 8th grade when he was here. He was a guy that we would play through, but that was his strength. He was a really, really good low post scorer. J1 last year, he closed out a lot of games for us last year, especially on the road. But JoJo's not near as good as either one of those guys at scoring. But if you've been around here the last 8 or 9 years, I usually start every game off by throwing it inside. Sometimes they score, sometimes they don't.
Milos, did you do anything differently, shooting motion for him? Was it just confidence?
No, I think I just put the same work that I've been putting in every day, and then sometimes your ball goes in, sometimes it doesn't. So, tonight my ball went in, so.
Kelvin, this was number 400 for you here. Feel like it, 12 years, just.
At this moment, it does. I'm a little tired right now. But
just what you've accomplished, and knowing that I know the season's ongoing, and this is just one milestone, but the significance of just the longevity and the consistency of what you've built here.
Yeah, but there's, we've had so many good players. Like most programs like ours, you become a little bit of a victim of your own success. I've noticed that when you win a lot of time, you get a lot more people shooting at you. There's no appreciation for it. Whereas some schools that have never won, when they start winning, they're the greatest ever. But that's always been like that. So it doesn't make us any different than anybody else. But, last 4 years, winning 30-plus games, win 20 as a benchmark. Winning 20 is pretty good. Going from Conference USA, even though we were in the American, we were still in the Conference USA when I got here, trust me. But going from the American to the Big 12 and what these young men have accomplished, I owe everything to them. They're the ones that put up with my stuff every day. Milos, I don't really care about Milos's shooting or if it goes in or not. That's for people that don't know what they're talking about. I just remember last year against Arizona, the Big 12 championship game. How many did you make? Six in that game? Five. How many did you make against Purdue?
6.
Yeah, he tends to make them when it counts. So it's a long season. Manual. I've been coaching Emanuel 5 years. But our team is getting better, and that's always been what you're after this time of year. Just get better. Proud of our young guys, Cenac and Kingston and Isaiah and Chase, all 4 of our freshmen. Not very many teams in the top 10 in the country are playing 4 freshmen, and we paid the severance for that early by paying 4 freshmen because you're not going to look great because you're playing 4 freshmen. But we hung in there with them, let them make their mistakes, and but our practices are tough, they're competitive, they're demanding. There's a high level of accountability, and when they can get through those practices, they put themselves in a position to do well in games. And I do think character matters. You have to be a good person to handle adversity. Because if you don't, then you're dealing with attitude issues, and I don't deal with that. It's the reason why the most impressive statistic here is not our records, 16-1 or 35-5 or Big 12, whatever. We've had 4 kids transfer in 11 years. That's the thing that people can't grasp. We've had 4 kids transfer in 11 years. All you need to know about this program.
This is for Milos and Emanuel. You guys combined for 8 of the 11 made 3-pointers tonight. You guys also scored and assisted off of each other. Can you guys talk about the guard chemistry that you guys have since Milos transferred over about 2 seasons ago? How's it grown with you guys?
I would just say, we spent a lot of time around each other during the summer and practices, workouts. I work out with Los every day. We go at each other in our workouts with the shooting. It's always competitive. And we've just built that chemistry over time. And then, especially with Kingston coming in, we've spent a lot of time in practice going at each other, against each other, playing with each other. So, like Coach said, we're the more we play, the better we'll get. So, we're building that chemistry. And I just think, whenever the ball's moving, that's the good thing about all 3 of us is that we're unselfish. So I think, when we're all playing off of each other, that's when we're at our best. Not just us 3, but, all 5 of us. When we're all passing, playing off of each other, we're a really good team.
Yeah, on the nose. Spot on.
Thank you, Lowe's. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Kelvin, for this team to be 16-1 after what you lost, last year, and 4-0 in the Big 12, what do you think when you hear that record, and do you ever allow yourself to appreciate it?
Not much. Just go back to the last 9 years. Our record's probably about the same as it is every year, isn't it? What was our record this time last year? About the same. What, the year before, about the same. Every year is about the same, I remember one year we were 16-0, 15-2, 16-1, 17-1. We've been that a lot that I don't overreact to it. I know how good this program is, and it's don't take it for granted. It's hard to do what we're doing. It's really hard, but we've got a good formula. Look at our points off turnovers tonight. Look at what our points off turnovers were Saturday in Waco. Look at our points off turnovers was in New Jersey against Arkansas. Those aren't accidents. Look at our second chance points. Look at our second chance points Saturday. We had 23 offensive rebounds. I mean, we give our offensive rebounders lots of opportunities.
Coach, are you seeing improvement in Chris Sinek's defense?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that, Chris. It took a while. The reason it took so long to see any improvement whatsoever, he's never played on the perimeter. Think about that. That's a 6'10" kid that's out there guarding 6'6" guys at the three-point line. You know, first of all, he's never played defense, and when he did, it was at the 5. You know, and his defense was an acronym, HYM. You know what that means? Hope you miss. That's about how I would describe his defense, at least what I saw. You know, he's never played defense, nobody told him to. But I told him that and this one I was recruiting, he said, you know, he'd like to play the 4. I said, I'd like to win the lottery. I mean, there's a lot of people who like to do stuff they probably can't do. I don't know if you're going to be able to play the 4. We'll give you a chance. But if you can't, you can't. You know, it's more important that we win than him failing at the 4. I'm not going to put our team in jeopardy. But let me tell you something about Chris Sinek. I love that kid. I love him. He never has a bad day, and I have wore him out. Milos and Emanuel tell you, he's never, ever not looked me in the eye. He's never had 1 ounce of bad body language. He's never, ever been late. He's always one of the first ones there, last ones to leave. He is like a huge sponge. Wherever he's playing in the NBA down the road, that team is going to be lucky to get him. I mean, he is an awesome, awesome young man. And I can say that for all 4 of the freshmen. They, you know, Kingston still got a long way to go. You know, I'm not in his fan club like most people. Look at Chase tonight. Look at Chase Saturday. Couldn't do that a month ago. Look how much better he's getting. Look at Isaiah. We ran a baseline out of bounds play just for him, and he caught it and finished it. I mean, they're all getting better, and we're giving them a chance to show what they can do. And I give a lot of credit to Ramon, to Emanuel and Milos. They've got great role models that have learned from the other role models. Leadership. We didn't have very good leadership early in the year. But they had to find their voice. They had to figure out how they were going to lead. You know, I remember we lost Jamal. There's always a narrative about our team. Coach, how in the world are you going to replace Quentin Grimes? Coach, how are you going to replace Jarris Walker? How are you going to replace Jamal Shedd? Oh, my God, how are we going to replace Martin Sasser? How are you going to replace L.J. Cryer and J1 Roberts and Javier Francis? So every year it's the same for us. We're always losing key players, and they were a big reason why we won was those guys. But I know Joseph and Chris has heard me say this many times. I've never, ever tried to replace a player. I never have. I always focus on how we can make our team better. That's always been my focus. How do we make our team better? And we've always been pretty good at that.